Hi, everyone, and welcome back to White Coat Chronicles with Tori. So, this is a real welcome back because it has been a minute since I last recorded and posted. But in this episode, you'll kind of find out why. We're going to be getting into it. I have a lot of updates, life updates, medical school updates, how I'm feeling that this is coming so soon, just all of the above and more. So stay tuned to get some updates, figure out where I've been, and we'll get into it. So it is currently Friday, March 28th. I cannot believe it is the end of March. Like, goddamn, time really goes by faster when you get older, I swear. And just like working, I feel that time goes by in such a different way than whenever we're in school and have like just different like big events to kind of mark the time. Like this time last year, I just feel like everyone was thinking about graduation. Everyone was back from spring break. And as soon as we got back from spring break, it was just starting to hit that we were graduating. But now it is Friday, an end to a pretty rough and hard week at work. But I love my Fridays. I love that I get off on Fridays. And honestly, most of the time I just spend my Fridays alone. I find that I kind of need that after being so stimulated throughout the week. And I just feel like my personality is dead by the time Friday comes along. So I need that day to just like reset, do things that I've been meaning to do, and just spend time with myself. So that is what we've been doing. Today I started my day with therapy at 10:30. I usually do it on Fridays, and it's honestly what inspired me to just sit down and finally make a new episode. The chats were just crazy today, and I'm just like, I felt the need to sit down and chat later on in the day. But after that, I submitted an application for a ton of scholarships for medical school. Was working with my dad with those for a while because I needed a lot of their like financial information. So thankful that he's here to help me with that. And then I got my nails done. I went for French for the first time in like a year. I don't know. First time in a long time. And I'm obsessed with it. I had black before, so it's a complete change. I'm just feeling the spring fever and my nails are reflecting that. And then I just was like feeling so appreciative to my nail salon. I love them there. They know our family because we all go there, and anytime it's busy, like they'll still take me. So afterwards I went to Dunkin' Donuts. I wanted to get them like a dozen donuts, but there were no donuts left because the Dunkin' Donuts near me was always ransacked by the local high schools after school, especially a Friday. So I had the intention, but it didn't happen. And then I just went to Barnes & Noble and like sat and read. I'm currently reading A Court of Roses and Thorns, or is it Thorns and Roses? Where's my book? I don't know, but I'm almost done with it. I got this book back around Christmas time, and this has been the longest it's taken me to read a book. I don't know why, guys. I usually go through books so fast, but this book, it's so popular. Lots of people probably know what it's about, but it's more like sci-fi, fantasy, different world. There's wolves, there's magic, and I thought I'd like it more, but I think I'm just going to stop here with the book. No, I'm going to finish it, but I don't know if I'll maybe at the end it'll make me want to get the second one, but I have so many other books I want to read, and I'm kind of just trying to finish it. But yeah. Anyway, I want to continue with Hilo Piccolos. Okay, high of the week. I guess the first thing that comes to my head is that I have secured an apartment where I'll be going to med school. It is 4 bedrooms, and it's just me right now. I have not found any roommates. I've reached out through the GroupMe with the housing. I have no one, but I said, I'm securing an apartment if this is the last thing I do. I just need to get this off my mind, and the roommates will come after. So let's see how this goes. Let's see. Low this week has just been feeling like just pretty sad about just coming to the realization that I'm going to be leaving soon. And I can't believe I'm sitting here saying this. And I honestly just can't believe I've been feeling this all week. I think it's because I process things after the fact they happen. And I've just felt like sad. Like my job, if you know, you know, like there's a love-hate relationship there. I loved what I've been exposed to, but the environment is just not the best. But my patients have just been getting me so sad. Like I had this one patient and I was telling her that I'm leaving at the end of May, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have a gift for you. Like, can we stay in touch?" And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I felt so sad. Like I wanted to cry. I'm like, who are you? I never cry. And I didn't cry in that moment, but just getting sad, like living at home is a whole nother beast in its own, but I'm obviously adjusted at this point and I'm super comfortable living at home. And I'm like, okay, we're moving again. We're starting over again. And just all the random things that come with medical school, like outside of the academic area, like the social stuff, is just getting me kind of sad. And Piccolo is, I guess, this is kind of just came to me today, or actually yesterday. I discovered Stay by Fisher, his new song. It came out like March 14th. It is so good and just gets me so hype. And I just realized like I need to go to a rave before I leave for school. I will go to a rave if it's the last thing I do. I really want to go to that like Sphere venue in Las Vegas where it's like you're in a bubble. I don't know, guys. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but just like I've really been into my dance EDM music and I just want to see them in person. Okay, anyway, those are the updates just as of today and high-low piccolo of the week, but let's get into where I've been and where the heck I'm going to med school now. Okay, so just to preface the story, I am basically going to a different medical school that I supposedly was going to when I started this podcast. Oops, oopsies. So to catch everyone up, I got accepted to VCOM December, and I put my deposit down right away. It was my first acceptance. And let me tell you, the deposit was pretty hefty. It was pretty hefty. But there was kind of like a period after that where I didn't hear anything from any other schools. It was just a really dry, silent period. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to this school. Thank God I got accepted to a school. I'm doing this. Then randomly, like all in the same week, all these other interview invitations just like were rolling in. And I took 2 more interviews, one for LMU DCOM and the other for OU HCOM. I never really said that. OU HCOM. I always am just like Ohio. But I did those interviews. They were both on Zoom. And my last episode was talking about how I was prepping for the LMU DCOM interview. And it actually went super well. I think having an in-person interview before I had these Zoom interviews just really calmed me down. Like such a different vibe from being in person. I felt way more relaxed. And people had their cameras off some of the times. Like it just was different. But I mean, we do what we got to do. And ever since COVID, so many things are on Zoom now. And I have to appreciate it because it's saving me money to fly to these places. But still, there's only so much you can get from a school through a Zoom. But the first interview was LMU DCOM. Loved the interview. I honestly didn't know much about the school. Whenever I received the interview, I applied to like 20 schools and barely knew anything about any of them, to be honest. It's like really bad to say, but I didn't. I just found the schools that were like kind of close to home on the East Coast and applied to all of them. So when I got the interview to this school, I was doing some research into it. And honestly, I was hearing some bad things just on Reddit. So I went into it a little biased, but also confident because I knew I already had an acceptance. So it was kind of just like a practice. I don't know. More than a practice, but that was one aspect of it for me. And I found out 2 weeks after that I was placed on the alternate list. I think there's a difference between like the wait list and the alternate list, or maybe it's just what LMU DCOM calls their wait list, but not gonna lie, like kind of surprised I was placed on the list because the interview went so well. And one of my people that interviewed me was literally like, pack your bags. Like, we want to see you here in the summer. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was so happy after it. And I also loved the 2 medical students I had on the interview just to answer all of our questions during like the student panel Q&A. They were so chill, just like just normal people. And they were kind of like calming everyone down. They're like, look, it's so good you've gotten to this point. Medical school is rough, but like you still can be a human being throughout it. And just like really, they themselves like would have convinced me to go to that school. But anyway, alternate list. So bye. And then I had my Ohio University interview. And this school has a relationship with the Cleveland Clinic. There's a lot of rotations that go there, and a lot of residency programs that go there, and a lot of research that comes out of there. So I was like very intimidated for this interview. I honestly didn't think that school would ever be an option for me. Also, because they have like 90% of in-state students. So the acceptance rate for out-of-state students is just like insane. And it's just didn't seem achievable for me with my MCAT scores. But I got it and I was like, sheesh, okay. So that one I was nervous for, even though it was on Zoom. Just more nervous because there was more pressure around it. I had 3 one-on-one interviews and 2 out of the 3 went well. But one of them was with a DO and a professor at the school. And he was just like, you check all my boxes, but your MCAT, it's just like, I don't want to put so much emphasis on your MCAT, but there's a ton of emphasis. It's the only test that we can really like gauge how a student performs. So if you do get the wait list after today, like just be ready, apply again. And I'm like, bro, why are you telling me all of this now? Like, I appreciate it, but I also am like, okay. It just made me think like, okay, I'm done. And that was my second interview. And then I had one other one, but I ended good. So what was crazy though about this school is that I found out the interview ended at like 3. It was 8 to 3. And I'm literally a psychopath and went to get my hair done after. I get my hair glazed every like 6 months, like a darker color. So I got off work that day. So I'm like, if I'm taking off work, I'm going to make the most of it. Got my hair done like a psychopath. When I told my therapist that, she's like, why didn't you just relax after? But it was like a form of relaxation for me. I don't know. But I came home for dinner and at like 5:45, I got a call telling me I was accepted. So I was like, wow, what a quick turnaround time. I did see on the Student Doctor Network that they do give their decisions the same day, but I know every year changes, every interview changes compared to like the beginning of the cycle. Now we're way towards the end. But I was so, so happy, guys. However, there's a point of the happiness where I also, the feeling was being matched by like a lot of anxiety because I'm just like, what do I do now? Am I allowed to change? And like, obviously, I know I'm allowed to change. Like, people lose their deposits and go to another school if they get in somewhere where they wanted to over the original school they wanted to go to. So I know it's all normal, but I just felt, I don't know, this school was intimidating to me in my head. I kind of had a lot of imposter syndrome, and I was just like, am I like good to be going here? Am I good enough for this school? And I just felt super comfortable at Virginia because I was on campus for the interview, saw the campus, met people I would have been in their class with the next year. So it just kind of had me, I don't know, I feel like my fear kind of overtook the joy of like getting into another medical school, which again, I'm going to say, like, I didn't think I was even going to get into medical school this cycle. I really didn't. Really was mentally prepared to be applying again, which is such a funny thought to me right now. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I fear that it took me up until like 2 days ago, and I got the acceptance the 4th of March. And then fast forward to the 26th of March, just kind of hit me like, okay, I got into this school and I'm going to go because I just think it aligns with my career aspirations better. I actually really want to do a dual degree program where I get my DO and also master's in public health. I would have to do an extra year, but I really, really want to do that. And they just have a lot of different options. They have a really big diabetic institute, and I can see a lot of my previous interests leading me into research there. So there was a lot of pros, I guess I should say. And I knew like, okay, I got into the school, I'm going to the school now, but I didn't really make the decision until the last minute. And then it all kind of just hit me this week as I secured the apartment. And I'm like, literally this morning, I just emailed Virginia that I'm no longer attending. And I'm so curious actually who got off the wait list because of me giving up my seat, and I feel bad. I should have probably done it earlier because anyone getting off the wait list now, it's just kind of like time to scram. I mean, it's not that late now. I've heard people getting accepted all the way up until July or even just like weeks before the medical school starts, which is crazy. I don't even know how you do that, how you find housing or anything like that. But I don't know. It really took me up until this week to be like, okay, shit, like I'm going to a different medical school now. Time to accept this and like figure it out. So yeah, that's where we're at now. I don't think it's going to change again. I think this is it. But I am now going to OU-HCOM, the Athens campus. If anyone is listening to this and looking for a roommate in the Athens campus, please find a way to reach out to me. But yeah, just, I don't know. A lot was on my mind this past month about deciding where to go, and I didn't really talk about it, but it was just like my mind was so busy with the back and forth of it. But I'm excited now. At least I'm telling myself I'm excited. I just think I still need to process the fact, quite honestly. But today I submitted my application for their institutional scholarship. So I've realized that if I have fear or anxiety towards something, I just need to like act on it and learn more about it. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Outside of my whole medical school aspirations, though, this month I have come to the realization that I am on a very different path than most of the people surrounding me. And now we're going to like dive deep into this. There is a lot to just that like simple statement that I said. Basically, this gap year has been like la la land for me. I don't really know how else to describe it briefly, but la la land. I am not studying for anything. I'm living at home. I have groceries and my meals all at home. I go into the city almost every weekend and stay with my college friends, and we go out. And then I like repeat work Monday through Thursday, and then the weekend comes and we do it again. And I've just come to the realization, though, that like this is not my actual life. This is just a gap year. And I'm getting a little nervous, like realizing that I am going to be starting a marathon in August, the marathon of medical school. I say that because everyone's like, medical school is a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm starting the marathon soon. And I just got like a little taste of what life would be like not going to medical school, you know, just like having your job. And then once your job is done, you kind of clock out mentally and do whatever you want to do as a human being outside of your job. And then on the weekends, like no anxiety, Sunday scaries are just like not real. And it's just comfortable. I'm so comfortable, and I feel like I'm in my comfort zone this gap year. And also just like really enjoying being alone. It's possibly the longest I have stayed single. October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, 5, almost 6 months. That's like really sad. But guys, this is like the longest I've been single. And I am in no means looking for anyone. However, I did go on a date though. I did go on a date. All right, I'm going to have to like side note this. I went on a date a couple weeks ago. Really, really random, guys. So I don't know if I should be saying this, but we're going to say it. So I have this one patient. It is not the patient I went on a date with. Let's just say that quickly. I have this one patient that's like my dad's age, and he comes to us every 2 weeks, and I've gotten really close with him. He's from where I'm from, and most people that go to this doctor's office aren't. So we just like kind of bond about that. And he's great. He's just really great. And he reminds me a lot of my dad. He, it was so random. This one day, I like took his vitals, we were chatting, and then I was about to leave the room, and I was like, okay, the doctor will be in soon. And he's like, wait, Tori, I have a question. And I'm like, okay, insert name, what's up? And he was like, Tori, I remember you saying that like you're single and like you're just like so turned off of men and you're like enjoying your alone time, like you're just ready for something more serious. And I have someone perfect for you. First off, Tori, when did you tell this patient this? It must have been a really low, rough day. Sorry, sir, for telling you all of that. But yeah, he remembered. And apparently he had a person for me. And the guy is a couple years older. He is like living in my hometown, but working in the city. I don't know, going through like kind of an adjustment period himself. But I gave him my number. I was like, okay, sure. Honestly, if you asked me this a couple weeks ago, I'd probably say no. But like in this day, patient, I am like, yeah, whatever. So the guy texted me like a couple hours after the patient left. I'm like, damn, he is working fast. And we had like really great chats. And we went on a coffee date. Really liked that he asked if I wanted to get coffee and not like drinks or dinner, just because there's less pressure and it's just more casual. We get to see each other sober. Like that vibe. And we met in the city on a Sunday because I was out with my friends. Saturday, slept over, and he's like, I'll come to the city if you're going to be there. And I'm like, okay. Went to a coffee shop, literally sat and chatted for 4 hours. It was good chat though. It was just kind of flowing. And I had the cute, fun little like butterflies in my tummy before I left. I remember like getting ready in Gabby and Sophia's apartment. I'm like, guys, I'm going on a date. Like, what do I talk about? And they're like, Tori, you'll be fine. And I was fine. And yeah, it was nice. He dropped me off at Grand Central after, and I trained home. And then we continued texting for a while. And then I just kind of was like, I don't really like texting and responding to someone all the time. I don't know, just that in itself, like, just kind of showed me, like, okay, you're obviously not ready to give any of your time away to anyone else right now. That is not already, like, a strong relationship of yours. Like, I have my people, and I give my energy to them, but I just don't think I was ready for, like, any new person in my life. I thought I was, but I wasn't, and I kind of was just, like, straight up with him about that, and he was really good about that, and that was that. So we tried, and we realized we're not there yet. Anywho, back on track, what was I saying? Okay, we were talking about how I'm on a different path than most of the people surrounding me. And I don't want to sound like a pick me with this. I literally was talking to my therapist about this today. And it's not like, oh, no one understands what I'm going through. Like, there's so many people in the same path as me, in the same spot, feeling the same things as me, but surrounded by me are none of those people, if that makes any sense. I said that in a confusing way, but you know what I mean. First off, my parents didn't go to college. So like this like going to med school thing is just like absurd for them to wrap their heads around. And I've always kind of done it on my own without their help. So that's one thing. And then I don't have any like close friends that are going to medical school or like wanting to do medical school. It's funny because a lot of my friends from home are going into healthcare. We have a vet, 2 nurses, a physical therapist, and a psychologist. So all like healthcare related, actually. It's really fun. But my friends from college, we have like finance gals, we have lawyer, we have psychologist as well, and getting her master's. And it's hard because those are my closest friends. And naturally, like I've heard this on another podcast before, but you are who you surround yourself with. And it's just hard when so many of my friends, I feel like, have reached the point like where they want to be. Obviously, like some are still going to school and some are switching jobs and stuff, but there's not a lot of schooling left and they just have more time. They have their 20s and everyone always says like you're giving up your 20s and 30s when you go to med school, and I'm just like, okay, no, I'm not. Like I'm still going to be me, but I'm just really feeling it as of recently because my two best friends are moving in together to the city. My college friends are going to be in the city and I'm going to miss out on that. Like I'm moving to Ohio. I will be in Ohio and there's a contract I need to sign that says after I graduate, I'll practice there for 5 years because it's a public school. They really want to keep their retention rate in state high. So I will be in Ohio for a shit ton of time and everyone I love is elsewhere. So I'm just kind of coming to that realization. I don't know why it's happening now. It probably could have held off for a little bit, these emotions, but they have come to me this week and have really driven me to want to talk on this podcast about just first off, like my updates, but also how I'm just feeling kind of like lonely in this process. And like, don't get me wrong, I have a great support network. I tell my friends everything about like what I'm going through, but when it comes down to it, I don't have anyone like holding my hand and doing the thing with me. And I don't think everyone does, but I was talking to my therapist about it, and her sister went to medical school and is a doctor now. And she was like, she just felt so lonely going through this whole process, like before getting to medical school. And that is like definitely where I'm at right now. I just listened back to like a couple minutes of this and it's just like so sad. And I feel like I could see people saying like, Tori, you got into medical school, like be happy. And this is what I've wanted to do like my entire life for as long as I can remember. And I've achieved it and I'm doing it and I'm going to a really good school. But this is what I do to myself, guys. Sometimes I just self-sabotage and think of the cons instead of the pros. But I just want to be so for real about it. I want to have this audio clip to like look back on. I know I could get so much advice from people saying like, you're going to feel these things and then whenever you get there, it'll be great. And I know whenever I get there, it will be great. But as of now, this is how I'm feeling. And I hope to get through it. I know I will, but most of the time when I feel like sad or scared or just anxious, I find ways to distract myself and move past it. But I'm really working on feeling my feelings. So we are feeling the feelings, and the best way to do it is through this podcast. This is what I wanted to start this podcast for, as a place to kind of look back and reflect on how far I've come and also maybe relate to some people. But yeah. So I was doing a little thinking, and I really have been like in my head about not being here next year, especially because my best friend, Maitri, she's moving back home. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not gonna, like, I wish I was home when she was home, but that won't happen. So I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, what would happen if I was home next year? I would be probably working at the same job. I hate to admit it, but I would, because it's literally, I'm in a toxic relationship with my job. I come home drained, exhausted, wanting to quit every day, and then I continue and go back and we'll have like a great day and that'll keep me going for the rest of the week. But yeah, I would be doing that job. I would be living at home because I'm working as a medical assistant, and please, we cannot afford to live anywhere else but home with that salary. And my friends here, like, they have their own lives. Like, they are doing their own thing too. They are also all in the city at this point next year. And it would kind of just look similar to my life right now, me working, coming home during the week, and then spending time in the city during the weekend. And that life is just not something that I would want for another year, to be honest. Like, even with all my friends being home, even though I like am so comfortable living at home right now, love my family, I've really just like had such a good experience being with my family. And this is so funny because I literally remember recording the episode for like the reality of my gap year and how living at home is such an adjustment and it's annoying. And like, yes, I still agree with all of those things, but my mindset has just shifted. I think I've just adapted like most humans do whenever they're in a new environment for extended period of time. But I'm just comfortable. And anytime anything amazing has happened to me, it's because I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone and have made myself open to change and kind of just went with the flow. And that is what I'm doing. I don't want to be home another year. I don't want to have to apply to med school all again. So it's like, I guess here's just like a little insight into my brain of how I talk myself down when I'm starting to feel like this. But with all of that being said, I'm going to be missing things. I'm going to be missing out on a lot of things. My cousin's getting married this summer and I can't go. Like, it's literally right when I start medical school, and maybe some people would be able to juggle that and go. Me, myself, I can't do that. Like, that'll throw me off and I'll be not functional. But it's just kind of coming to that realization that I am going to miss things, and that is okay, because when it comes down to the facts, like, my number one priority is becoming a doctor. And as sad and maybe like shallow as that sounds, that is my dream and that is my passion, and it comes before everything as of now. Obviously when I have a family of my own, that's going to change, but when I'm like most motivated, when I'm driven, like, it's all to this. It's all to become a doctor. It's what I want to do, and I'm so excited to do it. And I think of going to school for like the sole thing that I'm interested in, and I just get so excited. Like, I can't believe I'm going to be going to school to learn about the human body, and obviously way more than that, but like, it's like college, but just more focus on what I actually want to do. And I'll be surrounded with people even more like myself, and I know I'll make a ton of new friends. Maybe I'll meet a husband, who knows. But side note, I don't think I want to marry a doctor. We'll see. There's a lot of time till we get to that, but that's where my mind is right now, guys. That is where my mind has been for this past month when I have been MIA from this podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Expect more. I have a lot of ideas to talk about. I realize now that like there doesn't have to be a specific topic, and like going off of that, I kind of just like the raw chats and something always comes from it. I guess I was just getting into my feels in this podcast episode, but I'm excited for when it comes out. I'm excited to chat more about just kind of like the mental health aspect of applying to medical school and going through this whole process, making pretty big decisions at the age of 22. But, here we are. I hope these decisions are right, and I am figuring it out, and I'm bringing you guys along. So see you soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.